Wow. I think we're going to have to turn that bleep off. Settings. Show audio options. Past presenter, stop recording long meetings, set bubble. Got it. Welcome everybody to the launch of AlignMix 2019. There's a little beep as everybody comes into the call. We've got quite a few on the call, so hopefully we can bear with it. So thanks everybody for making the time. We're so excited to launch this. I'm Steve Maughan, and I've been doing this for many, many years, 29 years, Salesforce consulting experience, ZS Associates, partner at Accenture, and then founder of Cozmix. And done this all around the globe, over 200 Salesforce strategy projects, 45 plus countries. We should also have Joey on the call. Many of you will know Joey from the support that he gives, the excellent support that he gives. Let's see if I can just unmute him so that he can actually introduce himself. I think that's you, Joey. And I think that's unmuting. Nope, I don't think I can. So Joey is, he's been actively involved in every stage of the development of the new version. Joey's been working with us at Cozmix for around about 7 years now. He's done a lot of projects with me around the world. Now, Joey will be compiling the questions that people have. If you have any questions, then can you email them? Joey has to present. No. If you can email them to joey.domagala@alignmix.com. Now, to be fair, you could also do register at alignmix.com. Most of the emails actually will arrive with him. So the agenda for today, we're going to demonstrate all of the new AlignMix 2019 new capabilities. We're going to also talk about the roadmap for 2020, just to give you some idea of what we're working on. And we're going to talk about the new licensing model that will hopefully simplify things as we move forward. And we have some new Canadian data that we're quite excited about that is going to be great for the Canadian clients. We're also going to reveal some AlignMix 2019 launch offers, and we're also going to tell you how, if you're a AlignMix Pro user, how you can get your hands on AlignMix 2019 and start using some of these great new features. Finally, we hope to have some time for questions. I anticipate this will run no longer than 1 hour. It may be less depending upon how we get through this. So with that, let's start. Just to give you some idea, we have had some beta testers try the software out. We've had some very positive feedback. Here's Senior Director of Sales from Arbor Pharmaceuticals. Just when he thought AlignMix couldn't get any better, the team at Cozmix did just that. It's easy to learn and navigate, and the added levels of regions, districts, and territories have simplified the processing on the back end. He's sort of giving a hint as what is new in this release. Metro. My favorite feature is the lasso territory. It makes it very easy for me to understand the multiple locations at one time. Aside from the new features, I want to compliment you guys on always being responsive and willing to help any time of day or night. I can't say I get this type of personal service with any other software program I use. And Alcon, a long-time user, I find AlignMix 2019 to be a great tool, and Cozmix's customer support is like nothing I have seen before. The price is amazing too. which is good to know. So I just want to give you a little bit of background as to the heritage of AlignMix, and that'll give you some idea of why these new features are so significant. So originally, AlignMix in the current form was a minimal viable product. We really wanted to test out the proof of concept of touch align. And believe it or not, this current iteration is the 4th code base that we've ever had. So it was started in 2013. Now, at that time, and going into before we even launched AlignMix, it actually only had one level. It could only do territories. And the reason was that we wanted to keep it lean and mean. We didn't know how the touch align would work, so we wanted to minimize the burden on the system and just as a proof of concept, see how it works. Now, the feedback that we got when we did the beta testing back in 2015 is you at least need some sort of districts. So we added them in, but they were sort of shoehorned in. So you could do a district map and a district table. Districts didn't have IDs. They sort of created and destroyed themselves automatically. You couldn't select them with the query tool. Didn't have a radius menu. And probably the biggest limitation is you couldn't actually assign managers to districts. So it sort of worked, and we did a lot of work with this project and with this code base, but it certainly had its limitations. Well, the good news is, and the big reveal, is that AlignMix 2019 now has regions, districts, and territories in all their glory and all the functionality. So this was quite a significant rewrite of the internals of AlignMix to make this happen. There were some technical issues why we found it difficult to do this, but we've overcome them, and we now have these capabilities at all levels. So let's dive in. I want to show you some of the import routines, because they had to be rewritten, of course, as well to cope with the new geography. And the import routines are one of the things that we're really happy about. So just before I forget, we also have a new logo for AlignMix, and we're really happy with this. And we want to thank all those that helped us by giving feedback. When we designed the logo, which must have been a couple of months ago, we were actually veering for another one. And we put it out for a feedback, a survey, I guess, as part of the design process to all customers so they could provide feedback. And this logo unexpectedly got about 40% of the votes. It was overwhelmingly favored by everybody. And I've come to really love it. So I want to really thank you for that feedback and that input that you gave. So this is the new AlignMix 2019. We're going to start by importing some data. And this has changed quite a bit. And I believe it's changed for the better. So I have some launch data that I'm going to input. And just to give you some idea, if you go back, you can obviously see the 3 different sheets. We've got zip to territory information, we've got account information, and we've got people information. So let's just do the zip to territory. Now, we have changed this, and you'll see this immediately when I drag this to the zip ID. You'll notice that the right-hand panel now simplifies quite dramatically. One of the things that we found over the last 3 years is that if there was any question that people got stuck on, it was importing data. And for those of you that have used AlignMix for a while, you'll know that it used to have the case that the next button would be grayed out unless you had the data perfectly in the right order. So if you, in other words, you couldn't mix importing zip level data with account data or rep data. Now it simplifies it, so it makes it impossible to make a mistake. So let's just carry on. So territory, this will be more familiar to you, the district and the region. And we've got some population data, which is zip code data. Hit next. So you can see we've got 10 districts, 4 regions, 99 territories. And it imports. Voila. Now, let's do that again for the accounts, and you're going to see a new feature pop up with the accounts. So go back, select the account data, go forward. So ID goes to ID. As soon as I do that, again, it simplifies the name of the account, the city, the state. You're saying it's delayed. Okay. I'll try and slow down. I am also recording this, and I'm hoping that isn't blocking bandwidth. the zip code, the segment, and then the territory. And then we have calls, sales, and potential. Okay, if it's delayed, I'm going to switch off the Camtasia recording. I'm going to rely on the Join Me recording for distributing the video after we've done this. So hopefully that's better. As you go next, it asks if you want to merge the data. I don't in this case. But when we go next, there's a new feature in the summary of accounts. There are 20,000 accounts, but it's also telling you how many duplicates there are. Now, I've actually made these duplicates. No delay here. That's good. I think that must have helped. I've actually made these duplicates just to illustrate this feature. So that's another common problem that people have when they load data. They have dirty data that has lots of duplicates and missing elements and things. So that can be a problem. This is one way that AlignMix can actually help you, at least alert you to the problem. When it loads, we also have a new feature on the import errors. Previously, it just told you the line where the problem was. Now, if you open it up, it actually gives you the exact spreadsheet that you loaded with the problematic lines and only the problematic lines. So you can see here there's no ID for this record and there's no zip code here. Now the great thing about this is that if you correct these errors, then you could actually just import this file, the error file, and you'd have a complete set of data. We will be sending out a recording of this after the webinar is completed. So now we have all of the data loaded. Oh, we haven't done reps. So file, import your data, launch data, and all people. So as well as the three levels, I'd say handling people or personnel is probably the other feature that is major in this release. So we have the name. So let's drag that here. We have their zip code. Now you'll see as soon as I do that, the system knows that it's just rep data that is being loaded. We have job title, and that's new. And we have assigned territory, district, region. Now this is new as well. If we go back and have a look at this data, you'll see that this is more like a company roster. It has the name, it has the zip code, job title, and then it has territory, district, or region that they're assigned to. Now we're importing this as one field. So when we hit next now, we have a list of the job titles that were found in the data. So we've got a district director. I think they probably are regional manager. In fact, they're district director. We've got the territory manager, senior territory manager. So all of the people who have this job title, these job titles, will be classed as reps. Anybody who has these job titles will be district managers. And anybody who has this title, regional manager, will be classed as a regional manager. So then hit next and next. And there's no errors there. And we can see them on the map. Now, there's also another feature, Elisa Limon. You can see that it's automatically guessed the gender of the person. Well, we've also added the feature that in this day and age is sort of must, which is ignore gender. So you can just have whatever icon you want to represent the reps, and it doesn't have to make a judgment on the gender. So we have the reps here, and one thing you can do now is have a look at the view, and you can turn, say, the sales reps off. So now I'm just seeing the district managers, regional managers, or you can turn there's no regional managers in this view, and you can turn them back on again. So you can basically see different maps, and you can have different people showing on the map. So that is the data load routine, and we're actually really pleased with how this has come out. We think it's going to simplify the whole process, and I think it's going to simplify the whole process, and it's going to mean that people can load the data easier and with less hiccups. So that's great. The next thing I'd like to show you is someone's asked if we upgrade. We'll take the questions at the end, but basically this is free for all professional users. So if you have a professional license, you will get access to all of this. So we now have 3 levels of aggregation. So with this data that I've just loaded in, let's create the map. So first of all, district maps. And here we have those. And it defaults to show the span of control. And then the next one is the region maps. And again, this is the first view that you have of those regions. So if you right-click on any of these, you now have the radius tool available to districts and regions. That wasn't available before. So you can do things like hide, as an example, the whole region. You can also take the properties. Here we have the West region. Victor Tooth is the regional manager. You can add another regional manager. You can change the color. You can also make sure that the label is in any specific part of the map. And this is particularly relevant when you have a big section of the map in Alaska. Quite often the label would default to that, but as it is now, you can right-click on a part, and you can say select click part, and then the label goes to that part. So just a little bit of customization. So that's the maps, and I should say that the touch align is available at every level. The other thing that's available is we have the lasso select. So in this case, it would be lasso districts. And then up pops this new query. So here you can see exactly on which districts are actually being analyzed, and then it's got a list of the territories behind this. You can change these as well. So you can change them in here. You can change the name. You can change the ID. You can sort the territories, and for that matter, the zip codes. You can sort anything, and the account. So this is actually quite a deep query that's going on here. Once you've figured out what you want to do with it, you could create a new region, assign districts to a specific region, or in fact delete districts. I'm not going to do any of those at the moment. Now, you can also lasso the region for that matter. And another feature that we've only just added, but I think is going to be quite powerful, is the double click. If you double click on a region, it just gives you all the information about that specific region. So a double click when you're lassoing does that. So that's pretty powerful. Then we have the tables. Now that's sort of the next level that we've rewritten, and there's been a lot of rewritten code in the table view. Because of course we had to rewrite the tables for the regions. We took the opportunity to freshen up the districts as well. So let's just show you this. This has also been cleaned up, the views and some of the graphics here, hopefully for the better. So let's do a territory view. So here's just a view of the territories. You can of course change this. You can change the sales rep. You can change the district. You can change the visibility, and you've got the good old things like double clicking to see the overrides and whether it's contiguous. We have a couple of more statistics. First is area, so you can see the area, and this is sort of percolates through to districts and regions. And you can also see the measure of compactness. And this is quite an interesting metric in that it says how compact the territory is. Now, the most compact shape is a circle. So a circle would be 100%. And anything that is lower is sort of long and thin, not very compact at all. Anything that is higher or close to 100% would be considered more like a circle and therefore more compact. So quite an interesting measure. You can also customize this display. Now, this is something that we found is that people imported absolutely loads of data into AlignMix, and some just isn't very interesting. Unassigned isn't really interesting. And we've got counts A, B, C, and D. Well, what we can do is we can edit columns, and we can rearrange these, and we can deselect them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I'm not actually that interested in unassigned. I'm not interested in C and D. There's also another special type, which is total visible accounts. I'm going to rename those to target accounts. Target accounts. Now, this is a special field, and it only gives a total of what is visible. So it'll only give the sum of A and B accounts. We've done so much work where that metric alone is, whoops, did I not put it on? I need to make sure it's on. So here we have the total accounts. So you can see that this territory, 188, has 377 total accounts, and the target accounts is 119, which is the sum of A and B. Again, very powerful. So you can configure this as you like, and then there is almost a WYSIWYG sort of export. So here we go, and whatever you have that you're viewing, you can now see as a in Excel. The nice thing about this, we've finally figured out how to make the colors sortable. So if you sort this in Excel, the colors will actually sort as well. So that's nice, another little feature. And of course, we have this for the districts and the same thing for the regions. And again, you can customize it as and how you would like to. You can, of course, also delete things using this view as well. So that's the table view. Personnel edit module. This is another big rewrite. We did have what we'd call edit reps up here. That's been changed to edit personnel. So now this has been much enhanced. You can go down and you can see the details of the different people. So here we have a district manager, Arya Starkson. And you can see that they are a district manager. You can assign them using this view, and you can also put the details like their address. You couldn't actually put the address in before, and their job title and things like that. And you can filter. So let's just filter for take all off, and let's just look at, say, district managers. So now we're just looking at the district manager view, and you can reassign them. You can make district managers also sales reps. So you could say that this person is also a rep, and you could assign them to a territory as well. So that's the edit personnel module, and that's quite a big enhancement over what it was before. Next, there is a new file format. So let's talk about this. So what we found since launching AlignMix, which was 3 years ago, is that the file format was just a normal streaming of everything out to a file. And if we made changes to the format, it meant that the old versions couldn't read the new data. And this was a real pain. It was a pain for companies because if they had someone who had one license and then they got someone else in, they had a slightly, they bought a one that had some improvements, then they couldn't really exchange files. So real pain. And it also held us back in our development. We really had to think carefully before changing that file format because we knew that it had pretty serious consequences down the line. So just to give you some idea, AlignMix 2016, obviously 2018 could read those files. And with 2019, the files of 2016 and 18 can be read by 2019. The great news is that should there be an AlignMix 2025, I hope there will be, then 2019 will be able to read the files generated by 2025. So this is quite an innovation. It's possible because we've moved to a technology called JSON, and that technology is, think of it as a dictionary. You say, is this property in the dictionary? If it is, it uses it. If it's not, then it just uses the default. And that's how, if there's new things in that dictionary that the old version doesn't know about, then who cares? It just skips over it. So the old file formats, which were ALX and PAX, are being deprecated. Now, the this new version, 2019, reads both of those formats, but when you save it, it will save as .AlignMix. So we're pretty excited about this. We really feel as though this is going to free us up to be far more creative and to develop at a faster pace. So let's talk a bit about the roadmap. The roadmap, and this is just to give you an idea of what we're working on. We did a survey around about 6 to 8 months ago, and really the thing that came out of that was the regions, that we needed regions, and that's why we've added them. And it's been a pretty heavy lift to get them in, but we're really pleased with it. We're really pleased with the core engine. When we did the rewrite and the deep analytics to try and figure out how to put the regions in, we were really able to clean up the code. So this is the most stable version of AlignMix that we've created. To give you some idea, we did have a beta test period of around about a month, and we had about 40 people beta testing, and there were only 2 crashes that were sort of catastrophic that created bug reports in that time, and both of those errors have now been fixed. So what is the future? Well, the thing that we're working on, there's 2 things that we're trying to get ready for AlignMix 2020, high quality PDF printing and optimization. That'll be part of a premium version when it comes out. Now, obviously, I have to say that all plans are provisional and may change at any time and without notice. So I can see people are pretty happy about PDF printing. Yeah, I think we're going to be able to do something hopefully quite special with this, and I think it'll be a good addition. So let's talk a bit about the new licensing model. So the old licensing model, so AlignMix Professional 2018, we had demographic data which was sold separately, and that was $750. And then if it was used as part of a consulting project, then the end user must also have an AlignMix license. So if you're a consultant, you have AlignMix 2018, but your client has to have the license as well. Now that ran into a few problems, not least of which is that we are consultants too. So consultants didn't like sharing their client list with us. So we've simplified this, and we're moving to an in-house and consulting license model. So first of all, to explain the in-house license. So if you're a company and you have a sales force and you use AlignMix to manage the sales force, then that's the license that you're going to use, and you shouldn't see any difference, apart from the fact that we're now bundling the demographic data into the in-house license at no extra charge. And this will remain the same price of $1,000 per user per year. Then we have the consulting license, and this has the demographic data, and it also can be used for commercial consulting projects. So if you're doing work for another company on a consulting basis, then you can use this version to do that work. Now that is $3,000 per user per year. So there's also another type of license that's quite interesting, and that is an unlimited installations license. So we have had some of our larger clients ask whether they can just bypass this whole unique ID and activation code type framework, and if they can just have one key that can unlock all of their machines. And that's what we're introducing with multi-user licenses. Effectively, you will get one multi-user ID, probably the name of your company, and you will get one activation key, and you can then install AlignMix on any US or Canadian machine unlimited time. So you could have it on a server, people could download it, install it, enter the key, and it will just work. So that's hopefully going to simplify the lives of, well, of Joey and of the clients. So that's the multi-user license. Now, the in-house version of this, there is also a consulting license, is $15,000 per year, and that's unlimited installs. Now, as part of the launch, we're actually giving a 20% discount, so that is $12,000 per year. So I know for some of our larger clients, that will actually be a saving from what you're currently paying. That offer ends June the 1st, 2019. Other launch offers, we're also bringing back the 3 for 2. So AlignMix Pro, 3 AlignMix Pro 1-year licenses for the price of 2. Small print there is that any license already purchased since February 2019 is included. So if you've already got a license and you want to add 2 more, it'll only cost you 1 more. Offer runs until the end of May. All 3 licenses are activated at the same time, and price is per license for the first year. So let's talk a bit about Canadian data, and particularly the data that we have been using with AlignMix 2018. So it was actually the official FSA shapes based on the Stat Canada data. And we got these shapes, and we thought that it would be we thought that they would be as good a quality as we can get, but unfortunately, we found that clients were calling us and saying, look, this FSA isn't in the data, and we checked whether it was valid, and it was valid, but it wasn't in the data. So what we've done is we have licensed some high-quality SFA and subdivision data from a cartographic company, and this now contains all of the missing FSAs. So that's great news. It means that the data that will be provided with the Canadian shapes will be top quality. Now, we are going to have to charge for this. We have to license it. It's going to be $500 per user. This is not an annual fee. This is a one-off fee. And for the launch, we're actually going to discount that to $300 per user, which is a 40% discount. Again, the offer runs until June the 1st, 2019. So how do you get AlignMix 2019? The easiest way is to go to the website, alignmix.com/pro-download. And you can download it today. You can download it now. You can install it. Your current key will work. I should say that if you're a consultant and you have a license, then the license doesn't change until you have to renew. So we're honoring the terms at which you bought your last license. So with that, I will actually take you across to the website. The website has been completely redone, as has the manual, I should say. Joey's responsible for the manual. He's done a great job. It is actually 4 times the size of the previous manual. So we're really happy with the new look of the website. We've cleaned it up. The logo is there in all its glory. We have some customers, and we have some key features. They give rise to videos, take you through all of the features. We also have the versions. You can see the differences, and it explains the licensing. And we've also made more of the services page. So we're now going to offer what we call expert configuration, where we sort of clean up your data and load it and configure it. For most of the people on this call, that won't be of interest because I assume you're already up and running. But for clients in future, it's a service that we're going to offer to make sure they've configured everything correctly and they're getting the absolute most from AlignMix. We've also highlighted some of our other consulting services. So we do training, but we also do sales territory design, customer segmentation, and Salesforce sizing. They've always been highlighted on Cozmix.com, but we're really just emphasizing the fact and giving some insights into how we work on the AlignMix site. The support page, the how-to videos, have been completely redone, and Joey's put a lot of effort into that. So there's now how-to videos covering most of the features and all of the new features in the new version so that you can learn exactly how that works. I think that's it as far as the website's concerned. Let's go to the Pro Download page. Now, the Pro Download page isn't sort of visible from the home page. It is just Pro Download. We'll send you a link to this after the call has finished, and you can just download it. And the difference here is that you're getting the latest zip codes and the demographic data. Now, it's worth noting, if you don't have an active Pro key, then you won't be able to access that data even if you download this version. So there's no sneaky way to get around it. So with that, let's see if we can answer any questions. And I'm going to have a go at trying to unmute Joey. Participant list, Joey, pass presenter role. I don't really want to do that, but is there any other? Why can I not unmute him? Let's unmute everybody. This could be... So, Joey, do we have any questions?
We have quite a few. I emailed them to you just in case you wouldn't be able to hear me.
Okay, let me... questions from the webinar. Okay.
Might be best to go back through mute. Everyone
I'll go back on mute, and then I'll go through some of these. Is today's webinar being recorded? Yes, it is. We will distribute it to everybody on this list. Will maps created in the paid version still show up in the free version? We're having issues with the 2018 version. They will show up, but so will maps in the paid version show up in the free version? They will show up, but they will be limited, as the free version is limited to 10 territories. Is there a way to create custom icons for sales accounts? No, there isn't. So there's a selection of icons that you can use, the star, the circle, and there's a selection of colors, but it's a good suggestion. Is there a limit to how many data sets that can be imported? There is no specific limit. It'll be limited by your machine. We have had large data sets loaded. Up to 1 million records have been loaded and can process. Can you show the Alaska territory label move again? Let's see if I can quickly show that. So let me have a look at the district map. So here we haven't really got too much of a problem. Let me see if I can fool it into... So you can see here that the label is not in this section anymore. Let's go up here. It's gone up to Alaska. What a pain, because that is now the biggest area. Now, if you right-click and then do Properties, and then do Set Clicked, say the label in the second part, then the label now shows up in that part, and you can select which part you want. Will the labels move with you as you zoom in? Floating labels. They won't. I know who asked that. Your voice? No, I'm not. I am married. So when you zoom in, the labels will follow. They don't follow, but they stay stagnant in the part that you're looking at. Can you view some indication of drive time per territory? That's something that we're going to add with the optimizer. Under the hood, there are some measurements of drive time per territory. There's also in the index tool, you can create an index, and you can have geography, which is an index, a factor, a drive time factor in here. So if I said did population data, potential value, sales, and then calls at 60%, then maybe I could put drive time 40%, scale, back, next. So I've done a sort of drive time with index measure. So that's how you do drive time. Probably more to come with once we add the optimization. Can you remove columns from the table view? Yes, you can. That's the so you can say remove the, maybe you're not interested in the overrides or the locked or the visible. So then they go, and you can rearrange them in whatever order you want as well. Area is square miles. Yes, we probably should have that on as a label. Any chance you will have PowerPoint integration as an export? Believe it or not, I've been looking into that this week. There's just not that much support for creating PowerPoints programmatically. If we're a pro user and plan to do consulting work, how do we pay the additional cost? So your current license covers you for the remainder of your license period, and then when you have to renew, you just upgrade at the additional price. Is there a limit to multi-user licenses? Is the training that we can have for groups if we buy this option? Great question. There is no limit. It is unrestricted within the US and Canada. And the service, we do on-site AlignMix training. It's on the website. You get to meet Joey in person and me, potentially. Any other questions? I'll just check to see if Joey sent any others. Part 1. I think that's it. So thank you, everybody, for taking the time to join us. And hopefully the delay wasn't too bad. Hopefully the recording is such that, oh, here we have part 2 of the questions. Check inbox. I haven't got part 2, Joey. Let me... Let me try a different email client. Part 2, here we go. Okay, some more questions. And part 3. Is there any ability to do a goal seek to auto-determine territories based on attributes we would import? For example, we would want 15 equal territories. Well, that's the optimizer, and that's what we're working on at the moment. We're actually making some great progress. We've been working on it for 5 years. So we only want to launch it when it is actually best in class. And we don't want to launch anything that is not at least as good as the best optimizers out there. That cost, I have to say, many times more than AlignMix. So that's something we're working on. We think we're almost there. So that's why we said that hopefully this will be part of AlignMix 2020. Can you rename all the 3 levels, regions, territories, districts? Yes, you can. So you could have areas, markets, and franchises, as an example, would be one thing. Will you improve the visualization of accounts as heat maps clusters? I think this is the idea of having different sizes for different accounts based on attribute. Certainly something that we're looking into. Any plans to integrate with CRM, Dynamics 365 or Salesforce? Yes, I don't think it's going to make 2020, but there are plans. How can you delete account icons if you upload incorrectly? So if you want to delete accounts, then you go to Home. Let's do the territory map. You do Configure Layers, and then suppose I want to delete all A accounts. Select A, hit Delete, and then all of those are deleted. Is there a way to remove rep names? Sales rep, names visible. Yes, just uncheck that. Or to move rep names. No, there isn't. So the rep name is always beneath them. Is there a way to show all territories, or do I have to unhide each one individually? Well, that's where the districts come in. So you can take off different ones, and you can also let's do visible here. You can also say make them all invisible, and then just have these 3 that are visible. So if I have a look now, you can see that those are the ones that I've kept as visible. Anything else? Right. I think there's another one that Joey sent through. Okay. Quick question. Is the past version I cannot enter a first name and last? That's still the case. It is just one name for the field. When does the optimizer come out? When it's ready is the true answer, but we're hoping towards the end of this year. Can you change an index already set? Yes, that's one of the things that you could do this in 18 as well. So I already set an index earlier, so I could change these weights, and I could actually overwrite the series, or I could create a new series. So yes, you can. On the bottom strip, it gives location. Could territory name be available? I guess that's a good idea. Say the label disappears from site. It's possible. That would be a good suggestion. Part 4. Any plans on export range of zip codes? You could include territory names in the bottom bar when the location is set. Not sure what you mean by range of zip codes. Maybe email if that works. Great. So I think we'll wrap it up there with the questions. I hope you've enjoyed the webinar. As I say, this is now available for all pro users to download, use, and enjoy. We've really had a great time developing it. It's been so much fun, and I hope you get as much fun and enjoyment and productivity out of it as we have joy. So with that, I want to thank you for attending. We'll send the details out just after this call. Thank you. Bye-bye.